Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating. It's this incredible intersection where our birth charts, modern psychology, and the biological science of sleep all kind of collide. We're going to be exploring the astrological placement of Ketu in the 12th house and what it reveals about the profound solitude of healing. Now, if you're familiar with this space, you already know just how complex 12th house energy can be. So we're going to take a nice, calm, introspective look at how this specific placement shapes our relationship with sleep and with being completely alone. Okay, let's dive into this with a massive, thought-provoking question straight from our source material. Ask yourself, are you truly healing emotionally, or are you simply recovering physically while quietly disconnecting from the world? You see, for folks with this unique placement, their body might bounce back beautifully just through rest. But emotional closeness? That can feel way more difficult than just physically checking out. It's a really profound distinction, and honestly, unpacking this question is the key to unlocking the true lesson here.
Section 1. The refuge of sleep and the comfort of isolation. As we know, the 12th house naturally governs our deep sleep, the subconscious mind, and spiritual withdrawal. But when you pair that with Ketu's energy of detachment, its literally profound ability to let go of worldly attachments, something really magical happens. Sleep and solitude become an instant refuge. For people with this placement, silence almost never feels lonely. An hour alone restores their energy way better than a night out with friends ever could. When others might want to talk through a really hard day, this person, they might just want to disappear into a quiet room. Solitude becomes a true sanctuary for them, mostly because it asks for absolutely nothing in return. It just lets their nervous system finally, totally relax.
But here's where it gets a bit complex. Psychologically speaking, this deep comfort and isolation can create an emotional distance that happens completely unconsciously. The feelings aren't absent, no way, far from it. There is an entire rich emotional world quietly existing right beneath the surface. It's just deeply internalized. Someone with this placement might appear perfectly calm, super independent, totally fine to everyone around them, but their emotional needs can become tough to pinpoint, let alone talk about. Because instead of discussing hard feelings, their subconscious just defaults to processing them in private.
Section 2. Physical versus emotional healing, where biology meets psychology.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark difference it shows between the two types of recovery we all need. Physical healing, that happens through deep sleep, tissue repair, immune recovery. Our bodies are essentially brilliant machines at fixing themselves when we rest. But emotional healing, that's a different story. It requires conscious awareness, active communication, and really meaningful relationships. Someone with Ketu in the 12th house might naturally surrender to sleep and get all those fantastic physical benefits. But, and this is a big but, physical rest alone cannot replace the emotional connection required to resolve things like hidden grief or loneliness. You can wake up feeling physically refreshed, but still be carrying around a very heavy, isolated heart.
And this brilliantly illustrates the biological parallels happening here. Deep sleep is essentially your body's mechanic, right? It's repairing tissues, restoring immune function, regulating hormones. But REM sleep? That is your built-in, free-of-charge therapist. That's the stage where the brain actually organizes memories and processes the heavy emotional experiences we might be totally avoiding while we're awake. So science itself is showing us that biological recovery and emotional processing are two completely distinct, necessary functions.
Which brings us to this incredibly powerful realization from the text. The body heals through sleep, the heart heals through understanding. I really want that to sink in for a second. You simply cannot permanently replace one with the other. The heart absolutely requires vulnerability and safe human connection to mend. So it begs the question, if the conscious mind is avoiding all these feelings, where exactly do they go? Section 3. The power of dreams. The subconscious landscape. Well, with Ketu in the 12th house, dreams become massively significant. Because the subconscious is doing so much of the heavy lifting for these folks, you'll often see highly symbolic dreams and recurring themes popping up all the time. The unconscious mind doesn't use words, right? Instead, it communicates quietly, but very persistently, through vivid images, trying its best to process those internalized emotional patterns that stay hidden during the day. Often, you'll hear about dreams featuring these beautiful, incredibly peaceful landscapes, and that perfectly reflects that deep inner desire for sanctuary and calm. Because the unconscious mind figures out our emotional baggage way before our waking mind ever does. Keeping a dream journal is pretty much a non-negotiable tool here. It's like a bridge. It helps the conscious mind catch up and recognize what the subconscious has actually understood all along. Ultimately, these dreams, and those quiet waking moments too,
They offer really profound experiences of release. The 12th house represents spirituality and surrender, and Ketu naturally supports that deep introspection. For these individuals, time spent alone isn't just empty space, it's sacred. This quiet inner exploration is exactly what brings them such remarkable insight, intuition, and spiritual clarity.
Section 4. The modern isolation trap. When solitude becomes avoidance.
But here's the catch. Even spiritual growth requires balance. And frankly, our modern world makes that balance incredibly tough. Our exhausting lifestyles can actually weaponize this natural tendency for detachment. Think about it. After a brutally long workday, it is so easy to just choose sleep over a difficult conversation. Technology is the perfect accomplice here, giving us this easy and visible escape hatch. We just fall into quiet, endless scrolling or passive entertainment on the couch. It basically allows you to completely withdraw, avoiding any deeper emotional honesty, without ever appearing physically absent to the people sitting right next to you.
But we have to be real with ourselves. Temporary relief rarely satisfies deeper emotional needs. Sure, these modern habits give a quick break to a tired mind, but they're a trap. Complete withdrawal from emotional relationships doesn't lead to peaceful solitude. If you're not careful, it slowly devolves into genuine, painful isolation. So how do we actually fix this?
Section 5. Balancing silence and connection. The lesson of integration.
Astrologically speaking, Ketu in the 12th house is a truly beautiful placement that grants profound emotional resilience. The real challenge is just recognizing the difference between setting healthy boundaries and building impenetrable walls. Healthy detachment creates freedom and inner peace, and most importantly, it's a conscious choice. Emotional isolation, on the other hand, is an unconscious habit. It just leads to disconnection and unresolved loneliness. Remember, detachment should lead to emotional freedom, not a total barricade against human intimacy.
So the crucial point is that this beautiful integration happens in 3 steps. First, you restore the body through sleep. Deep sleep is a literal blessing that quiets the nervous system. Second, you restore the mind through solitude, honoring that totally valid need for peace. But third, you have to heal the heart through shared vulnerability. True healing includes both the solitary recovery and the human relationship. Your inner peace grows so much stronger when your quiet time is a conscious, restorative choice rather than just an unconscious habit used to hide away. The greatest balance always comes when peaceful solitude can exist right alongside emotional intimacy. When you manage to honor both, your sleep becomes more restorative, your relationships get vastly more meaningful, and your healing actually reaches those hidden places within the heart. So I want to leave you with one final thought-provoking question to carry with you. How can you honor both your need for solitude and your need for emotional intimacy today? Really take a moment to reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, keep seeking that beautiful balance.